This is the Week 15 Fantasy Football Podcast, featuring Jonathan Keith and Tyler Harnish.
Welcome back, Week 15 listeners, and happy Thanksgiving week. Tomorrow is Turkey Day. I know we have so much to be thankful for. We're thankful for you. Thank you for listening to our podcast about the fantasy football. Oh, man, this last week was a little bit of a wild one. Definitely not great for me and my fantasy teams, but we're having a blast here at Cross America, as always. Tyler, you ready? You got a win lined up?
I got a win lined up.
Let's hear it. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so we have 3 young kids like we've talked about, and when Grandma asks, can I have the kids on a Saturday, you just don't say no to that.
Absolutely not.
And my mom this past weekend was like, hey, can the kids come over? Got some stuff that I want to do with them. She took them bowling, made some treats with them, and Chris and I just had a great night out. Got to go get dinner, do some shopping, you know. There are some holidays coming up that we are now better prepared for, so shout out to my mom for taking our kids for us for 7 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We had, my win for this week is we had kindness week last week at my school. And they had different dress-up days each day. Friday was dress up like your favorite teacher day. And so I didn't know how that was going to go. I actually just wore – teachers were supposed to dress like their students. So I just wore jeans and a T-shirt. And 4 of my girls show up to my classroom rocking polos and drawn-on beards. I'm showing Tyler a picture right now. But yeah,
the resemblance is stunning.
Oh yeah. They were rocking polos and then the drawn beards. And then when we took a picture, they said that you couldn't smile because Mr. Keith is always not smiling. And I was like, man, I don't know about all that, but it was funny. We got a good picture together. It's definitely made me laugh. I got a good class. They've made my life easy. And yeah, we're on Thanksgiving break right now as you're listening to this. We're recording this on Monday. And yeah, we just got 1 day between us and Thanksgiving break. Great win of being a teacher is Thanksgiving break. Got a short 2-day week, day off with the kids, holiday, and then a 3-day weekend. Excited about it. Very hyped about this week. Much more hyped about this week than my performance in fantasy football for week 11.
Yeah, it was a down week for a lot of people. There wasn't a whole lot of high scoring that went on this past Sunday. Do have a big matchup tonight, though.
Yeah.
I thought about this question on my way here.
This is gonna be good.
So my love or lack thereof for kickers is well documented, and Johnny and I have a matchup in one of our leagues, and I am up. It's a low scoring league, so I'm up by 4 points, and the only 2 players left are our kickers. And I thought, what would be worse for me, being a kicker hater, that my kicker seals the deal for me, and I get the win, or if I lose because your kicker outperforms my kicker. So it's Harrison Butker versus Jake Elliott. I have a 4-point advantage, and I want to hear your answer to what would be worse for me as a kicker hater.
I think knowing you, if you get the dub, you won't care. You won't care how you get it.
But that's almost worse from my standpoint, though. You know, like my kicker's
you hate kickers, and he's gonna win you your game.
Yeah, or it's like, well, I lost because of these stinking kickers again. You know what I mean? Like I just don't know what's worse.
Yeah, I thought that was funny when I realized that it was going to come down to that. And I was mad, too, because I was going to get a defense.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. I didn't have a chance to sub in my defenses because in this league, you have to have your subs put in or you have to have your waiver movement done by Monday Night Football.
Yeah, there's only one waiver period. Like we've said before, this is an old school league, so we get one waiver try, and it is Monday night.
And I didn't have it done by then, and then so I had to rock with the Saints defense that was on bye. And the way defenses work in this league is if your defense holds the opponent to under 21, you get 4 points. That's the only way you score.
Yep.
So he had the 49ers, which did their job. And so he got his defense of 4 points, and I got the goose egg in my spot. But I also had Gabe Davis. In this league, if you start somebody and they get 0 targets, you can refer to your sub.
Yep.
So I had Gabe Davis, who got 0 targets. and my sub was T. Higgins,
Who was out?
So it just happened to work out that way, unfortunately for me. But yeah, if I lose tonight with you, in which you have the lead and the kickers could wash easily or whatever, I could go 0-5 this week. That's not happened to me, like, ever.
Yeah.
And I can't even believe it. Just some of the injuries. I mean, Burrow's my quarterback in 2 leagues. I have Kenneth Walker. I have a league where I'm leading in scoring. Actually, 2 of the 5 leagues that I'm in, I am the league's leading scorer. I'm going to lose in both of them. And in one of them, I scored like 86 points.
Yeah, that's rough. In the league that we were talking about, our previous matchup with the Kickers, I have scored the second most points, and I'm 5-5. And I have given up the most points, like by like 100 points,
wow.
which scoring is a premium in this league. So it's so frustrating because I've scored over 400 points, but I've given up over 426, and I'm 5-5, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah, and yeah. It's a weird league. It's hard to get in the playoffs. One of us probably will. One of us probably won't. Where it sits right now, as far as the playoffs go.
Yeah, we're battling for second place in our division.
Yeah,
the loser's not out of it, but you got to go on a run.
Speaking of playoffs, Toon Squad, David Hazley, still undefeated. Gonna be 11-0.
Wow,
crazy. Going to be 11-0. The 2 listener leagues they're tight races.
They are
very tight races.
I took a big fat L in both of them. It was a rough week for me on ESPN.
Said, I'm looking at 0-5. If DeAndre Swift scores like 20 points tonight, which is in the realm of possibility, then I'll win in League One. League One, I'm the leading scorer in the league right now. But I'm not first overall. I think I'm second overall, or tied for second. But yeah, it's been interesting. We've decided to shake things up a little bit for today's episode. Before we do that, I want to remind you again, thank you to our sponsor, the studio at Benchtop Designs. Big fan of Peter and his work. Make sure you go follow them on Instagram. Check out what he's got going on. And if you want any custom furniture pieces, he's the guy to go to. He does a great job. Attention to detail is there. Just a really, really talented dude. Can make all kinds of stuff. Big, small, unique, perfect for gift ideas. Go check out the studio at Benchtop Designs. I also want to throw this out there. We do have merch. It's on our website. And if you want to order any shirts or hats or anything and get it before Christmas, you need to order by December 6th. So throwing that out there. If you want some Week 15 gear for Christmas or as a gift, order it by 12/6, December 6th, to get that taken care of. All right, Tyler and I were talking today as we were hard at work teaching the youth of America on this Thanksgiving week.
Our 2-day work week.
Our 2-day work week, about if we wanted to change things up a bit today. And he came up with 2 good ideas. I liked them both. The first one is a mid-season MVP vote. I've got some votes. And then a second one is if we were to redraft right now today, what would that look like? So that's coming up. But first of all, let's talk about your MVP candidates. And I looked at this 2 ways. The obvious, overall MVP, that's one. And then I looked at a couple, MVPs in terms of these are guys that you didn't draft in round 1, maybe not even round 2, but they're winning your leagues.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go ahead and talk about the MVPs first.
So I kind of thought about real football and then fantasy. So I wouldn't mind having a little discussion with you as far as real football goes, kind of what your thoughts are on the MVP as it pertains to the actual NFL, and then we can kind of get into fantasy.
He just wants to argue with me today because he knows I'm a quarterback, and in real football, it's like, how do you not pick a quarterback? But whatever. Okay, go ahead.
So I feel like in the NFL, the MVP has turned into a quarterback award. And I have a problem with that. I think that they need to make a quarterback award, and then they need to give the MVP to the real MVP, who is the most valuable player for one of the best teams remaining. And I don't know how you don't give the MVP to Myles Garrett.
Okay.
Of real football.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because it just seems like an MVP award. You know, who is the best quarterback of the teams in the playoff? Who has the best stats of the quarterbacks who have made the playoffs? And I think that Myles Garrett, with what he is doing for that Browns defense, I mean, they gave up 10 points this past weekend to the Steelers, who is not a great offense, but man, he is just an unbelievable defensive player, and I think he should win the MVP if it stood right now.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between simply the best football player and the MVP. Because, like, when I think of value, I think of postseason success. Say the Browns didn't have a single injury this year. Say Nick Chubb's still in play. Say Deshaun Watson's still in play. Are the Browns a Super Bowl contender?
Absolutely.
Woof. I do not agree.
Really?
No, I do not. I don't think their offense has any chance to pound through the gauntlet that the playoffs are going to put up for a defense. Now, I think the Browns have one of the best defenses in the league, but still I think that gets neutralized by some of the juggernaut offenses like Mahomes in playoff form and things like that. I think Myles Garrett, and I've posted on Facebook, I don't know how many weeks ago.
I know you have.
Myles Garrett is the best football player in the National Football League. I believe that. But in terms of like value to a franchise, Patrick Mahomes could lead most teams to the Super Bowl. And that is why I think Patrick Mahomes is MVP.
Yeah. When you look at the playoffs, there's two things that travel, right? You don't know where you're going to be playing, all that. Running the football travels, and playing defense travels. And I think that the Browns bring you that if Chubb is healthy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be one of those things where, like, I would have been shocked if even a completely healthy Browns team, as good as that defense is, could make it through the gauntlet of the AFC to get to the Super Bowl. But, like I said, to me, there's a difference in most valuable and best, because, like, most valuable, again, is, like, what player is going to capture the possibility of a Super Bowl the best? To me, that's almost always a quarterback situation. And when you see quarterbacks get hurt, I think that plays out. You could have 100%. You could have 7 Pro Bowlers on a team, and their quarterback gets knocked out for the year. Like the Bengals aren't going to win the championship this year.
No,
that's out.
But the Browns might win their division without Watson. I mean, they're leading the division in one of the toughest divisions in football.
I thought the Ravens were.
I think they're tied now, aren't they?
They might be. I don't know. They had the overtime win. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good debate. I agree with you that I think Myles Garrett is the best player in the NFL. If I had to pick, if I got a free pass, I could pick any player to put on my franchise to lead me to a Super Bowl in the coming years, Myles Garrett would not be on the list. But I see your point.
Anyway, back to fantasy. All right, my midseason MVP is Christian McCaffrey.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have running backs in fantasy football, and he's the best. He catches, he runs, he scores. He is the fantasy MVP.
Second overall in points right now. The difference between him and running back number 2 is more than 60 points.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Crazy to me. If I had candidates, I had Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown going to New York, C-Mac holding up the trophy for MVP. I wanted to mention some names that I'm thinking of, like, most improved wouldn't be the award, but like maybe how like MVP and then like offensive player of the year or whatever.
Yeah.
These are guys that you didn't draft in first round. You shouldn't have drafted in the first round, but they've put up numbers that earn that respect. They're going to win you your league. Where if you got a top 10 scorer and one of these guys, like, you're doing really well. And that's David Montgomery, like in a points per game respect.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen, obviously. Keenan Allen's, I think, 3rd in points overall right now. Raheem Mostert and Travis Etienne. Those guys, I think, if you drafted those guys later and were able to get a couple bell cows before that, then you're doing really well.
Those are the sleepers.
The sleeper MVPs, yeah.
But Mostert for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of setting the league on fire.
Yeah. This podcast is sponsored by Brothers in Cards. We are a sports cards company committed to glorifying God and loving others through the sports cards hobby. Whether you're trying to rip packs, join breaks, or add to your collection, we got you covered. Go follow us on Instagram at Brothers in Cards and check out our subscription box at brothersincards.com. All right, segment number 2. We're going to talk about redrafting here.
Yeah.
Did you see my text about just going every other?
Yeah.
Did you like that idea?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I will give you the first overall pick. We're going to go through 2 rounds. We're going to pick up 20 guys, and this is the order that if we could go back to August and you could listen to this episode in August, this is exactly what we would have picked if we could see into the future, which we could not. Disclaimer.
Give me CMC in the 101.
Yep. I think I had Jamar Chase as my number 1 overall before the season, and C-Mac number 2. C-Mac definitely is taking that out as we just listed him as our MVP. Number 2, Tyreek Hill.
All right. I will go ahead and I will take A.J. Brown.
That is who I was hoping I was going to be able to grab after you. See, this next run here, I'm like so torn. I have a crazy stat that I wanted to throw out here.
I'm ready for it.
Only 11 players have scored more than 200 points this year. Only one is a running back.
Wow.
That's crazy to me.
But you have to have them. That's the hardest part.
Right. Gosh, I'm just going to go on this run of stats that I had for this segment, and I was going to do it beforehand, but here we are. We haven't even gotten to pick 3 yet, or I guess pick 4. But okay, so we've talked about the importance of running backs a lot. I'm a running back guy, running back by committee, fantasy football guy, always have been. Receivers obviously garner a lot of important significance. Quarterbacks, we've talked about not drafting a quarterback in the first round or second if you can help it. We talked about the difference between the best and the worst, 1 and 5, those kind of things. Listen to some of these differences. All right, Christian McCaffrey is an outlier. He's 60 points ahead of running back number 2. We already mentioned that. If we look at running back number 2 and running back 16, there's only a 50-point differential.
So is Mostert 2 on your list?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's only a 50-point differential between running back 2 and running back 16.
So pretty tight.
That's really tight to me. Really tight. When we look at quarterbacks, between quarterback 1 and quarterback 16, it's almost 100 points.
So significant.
Yeah. If you had Trevor Lawrence or Josh Allen and you were like, I'll just get Trevor Lawrence next round, that cost you 100 points.
Yeah.
Crazy to me.
10 points a game.
I mean, yeah. Wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 16, over 100 points.
Yeah, huge.
Tight end 1 to tight end 16. Tight end's a little different. You're looking at about a little bit less than 90 points between 1 and 16. But even then, TJ Hawkinson's kind of an outlier a little bit. I think he's up by 30 points on the next guy.
Yep.
So really, you got a 60-point differential between 2 and 16. But the biggest differential here is the wide receivers, in my opinion, and quarterbacks. I think maybe quarterbacks have earned maybe not a first-round guarantee to me, but next year I'm going to be okay, top-tier quarterback matters.
Yeah, I mean, who are those guys for you coming into the year, though? That's my question. I mean, Allen was definitely up there. Hurts, he's number 4. I think I had Hurts and Mahomes as my 1 and 2, which Mahomes is down a little bit. I still think he'll be fine. I mean, I think he's 13?
Maybe, but he's had a bye week. He's had the flu
12.
game or whatever. But I'm not really worried about Mahomes. I think Mahomes, even by the time the year finishes up, he'll be a top 5 quarterback. But I mean, it's just one of those situations where, again, I read those numbers. 11 players have scored over 200 points. Sam Howell is one of them.
Yeah, quarterback is a premium for sure.
We ignored quarterbacks for the first round, second round. I mean, I didn't draft quarterbacks until pretty late in any of my drafts. And now I'm looking back thinking dang, it's a 100-point difference from where I was. It's significant. That's significant. But anyways, back to our draft.
Number 4.
Wide receivers are to the top of the list now for me. And I'm going to go with the quarterback that I believe in the most out of some of the remaining receivers here, and that's Keenan Allen. He's a veteran guy. We thought he was too old coming into this year, but he's proven that to be not the case.
He's a PPR machine, and he's actually scoring this year.
Yeah.
I think that has a little bit to do with Mike Williams tearing his ACL, but good pick by you. Yeah. I will go ahead and I will take Stephon Diggs.
And I think I had him ranked 4th or 5th preseason. Josh Allen, I still think has all kinds of world potential, but he needs to zero in a little bit. He's been crazy.
I think he had a better game
much better
last night.
Much better. But 2 weeks ago, I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown next.
That's a good pick. Another PPR machine. That was going to be my pick. So I'm going to go back to the running back well here, and I'm going to take Travis Etienne.
He's been great.
Getting all of the work.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it. I did not see that coming.
I'm struggling here on this next one here because Justin Jefferson's a top 3 pick with Kirk Cousins healthy, even with the injury, in my opinion.
Knowing what you know now, would you take him at this 8th overall?
I mean, what's he missed? 5 games?
Time machine, yeah. That the biggest 5 games of the year as far as fantasy goes.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, you're going to have him back for the playoffs. You've had him win a couple games. See, I have him in my League 2 league, and I've missed 5 games. I'm 3-6 now. If I make the playoffs, I'll have him, Kyron Williams, and Devon Achane back. I'll feel good about that.
Yeah, Achane re-aggravated that knee.
Yeah, that makes me
Sad.
nervous. Yeah. Have they said how much longer he's going to be out?
Day.
Okay. CeeDee Lamb's still on the board as well. He's a guy that's focused on that offense, especially when we get to the red zone. I think I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb.
Yep, that would have been my selection as well. I'm going to kind of shock you right here, and I'm going to go Brian Robinson.
Wow.
What he's doing with the Redskins, he's catching the ball. He's getting a ton of work. He's running back 4 right now. Maybe I could have gone Mostert right there, but I think that if Achane is there, like that's going to be that 180 points is just going to be divvied up. So I'll take the sure thing in Robinson at 9.
I'm still going to go ahead and take Justin Jefferson now. I think Josh Dobbs is capable of getting the most out of him. And I know we had missed 5 games. I understand that, but I think he's that impactful for the other games. He's going to lock you in several wins, and he's going to be healthy for the playoffs, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, Chase would be an obvious choice right here. I mean, if Burrow was healthy.
Right.
But knowing what we know now, Cooper Kupp injured his ankle this past week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that or not, but he is injured. So give me Puka Nacua.
He's back on top.
Right here.
He's up there in terms of points scored per game.
Yeah, 177. He's giving you 17.
Stafford coming back? Stafford back?
Stafford's back.
All right, yeah.
Nakua scored this past week. Cooper Kupp may miss more time, so give me Nakua.
All right, that's fair. All right, this pick right here, Raheem Mostert.
I don't blame you.
I mean,
That's a layup at the 12th spot.
12 spot. Raheem Mostert.
I mean, it's just like ugly points are still points, and it's kind of hard to say. I want to pick Josh Jacobs right here, but I will go ahead, knowing what I know now. Justin Fields is back. He ran for over 100 yards this past weekend. He's airing it out pretty good. Thumb held up, so I'll take DJ Moore right here with 13.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and, yes, I know it's this high, and we're talking quarterbacks. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts right here.
Jalen Hurts, okay.
Yep. I think he's that impactful as a fan. I know he's, QB2 right now? I think Josh Allen's
4.
number 1. Is he 4?
He's 4.
I'm still in just with the tush push and everything that we see. I'm taking Jalen Hurts right now in the top of the second round. Just so much potential on every drive.
I'll give you Hurts, and I'll take Allen. Josh Allen right here at the 15.
I'm going to follow up with Lamar. Run on quarterbacks.
All right. Well, I'll give you one more. Justin Herbert, number 2. So you take 3 and 4. I take 1 and 2.
All right. Next up, this one. Again, part of this is because I was so big on him coming into the year. But man, dude, David Montgomery. Look at the playoffs that we've talked about. Knowing how good the Lions look right now. I don't know where he ranks right now in the running backs, but as far as potential, I put him right up there. I know he's splitting carries with Jahmyr Gibbs, but I know that they're feeding him when they get into the red zone, and Jared Goff's getting him in the red zone a lot. That's probably a reach in the second round, but he's a guy that I really want on my team. I'm willing to put him on there ahead of a couple others.
Yeah, I will reluctantly go ahead and take garbage time Josh Jacobs here at 19.
All right, and at this point, I'm going to go ahead, and I know he hasn't done what we expect him to do, but Travis Kelce late in the second round, I'm just willing to ride with that.
Yeah, if you want to put Hawkinson in there, you can.
Yeah,
Dobbs is just feeding him.
Yeah,
he's just feeding him.
Yeah,
man. So that was a good little exercise right there.
There we go. Yeah, I mean redrafting.
A lot of receivers.
Yep. Like I said, out of the. And here's another graphic for I don't know if you saw this, but I looked at the top 50 scoring players, and this is all PPR. All right.
Full point PPR.
Full point PPR. The top 50 fantasy football scores. 18 of them are quarterbacks.
Yeah.
3 of them are tight ends.
Really?
Number 50 is George Kittle, who's a tight end.
Okay.
Only 11 are running backs. Only 11 of the top 50 scores are running backs.
So let's take quarterbacks
18 receivers.
So 50 total.
Yep.
How many quarterbacks?
Here's the breakdown. 18 quarterbacks, 18 receivers, 11 running backs, 3 tight ends.
That's wild to me.
Yeah. And I think what we're seeing is You have injuries as a factor for running backs. You also have split backfields. You have a lot of carries getting passed over to some of these younger guys. You think of the Vikings, how many different guys have carried the ball there. I know Madison's been dinged up here and there, but
Played
Madison,
a good game last night.
healthy. Ty Chandler was all him first drive.
Yeah.
And Josh Oliver, the tight end.
And Ty Chandler had a good game.
Yeah.
It's just that's the way of the NFL.
Yep.
Running backs are expendable unless you're one of those top guys.
And then when it comes to receiver in PPR league, you have offenses that are designed. I mean, Devontae Adams wasn't on our list. He probably would be in that third round. He has Aiden O'Connell, but they're designing plays to go to him.
It's the same way as St. Brown.
Yeah.
I mean there are plays where it is designed like there is no read on this play.
Yeah.
The ball is going to Amon-Ra St.
Yeah.
Brown. You know what I mean?
Well, and Jamar Chase is the same way. They have so many screens designed to Jamar Chase. I think if you're playing against the Bengals right now, tee off guys on Jamar Chase. I don't care. Like, listen, we're just going to assume it's a screen. If he goes and beats you, we have safety coverage, we have extra help. The way their offense is, he's their best asset. They're going to try with a weak quarterback not being able to recognize different things. Just pin your ears back, ruin Jamar Chase's day.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
It's the thing that we need to remember next year when we're talking is designed plays. I think
Designed
I
plays,
really think
yes.
that's big.
Huge.
What are the offenses doing to make sure that they are getting their guys the ball?
Well, I think Antonio Pierce just recently, after McDaniels gets fired and they were moving all these things around the offense, he said, I'm not dumb.
Yeah, I saw that quote.
I'm not dumb. I know the ball needs to get to Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
So the offensive coordinator. And then you know what? I think another factor is when you see these big contracts from these receivers, it's like, boom, right now, this is the asset that we're paying. What plays are designed? What are we doing in the offseason to prepare to get him the ball when someone's trying to take him away?
Design touches.
Yeah, design touches. But yeah, good stuff. That was a good segment right there. A lot of good facts in that. It's still wild to me the difference between like QB1, wide receiver 1, and 16. 100 points. 100 points, man. That's wild. So you're looking at guys in your league that are running away points wise. They have 2 in the top 5.
Yep.
Where some of us have 2 in the bottom 5, and it's like, man, that's the difference. Hundreds of points right there. This podcast is a So.Will.I.Studos production. So.Will.I.Studos is a podcasting brand founded by my wife and I. We plan on launching multiple podcasts this year, each with the intention of promoting positivity and critical thinking. This brand will cover over each podcast. We will have one YouTube channel, So.Will.I.Studos. There will also be one Instagram account that links to all of the others. Follow us on Instagram at so.will.i.studios. We are so excited for this new journey. We can't wait to share with you. All right, let's talk about Week 12 because that's what's coming up. We have 3 weeks between now and the playoffs, 12, 13, and 14. Let's talk about Week 12. There's no buys in Week 12, but heads up. The second Bye-Mageddon comes in Week 13, where there's like a whole bunch. Bye-Apocalypse, yeah. That's coming in Week 13, but no buys in Week 12. Everybody gets to play on Thanksgiving weekend. When I was looking at the schedule, I love the Cowboys playing against the crappy Commanders. Obviously, they have a lot of weapons. Michael Gallup, I'm not going to take away in your waiver segment here, but I like Cowboys. I want to be a little weary of Chargers. We saw Quentin Johnston have that big old drop last week. I know there's been some injuries there, but they're playing against a Ravens defense that has not given up 30 points yet this year. The Browns did score, I think, 33, but one of them was a pick 6.
Yeah.
The Ravens defense has not given up 30 points. The Chargers have only scored 30 points 3 times this year.
Staley's on his way out. It's
a mess. It's a mess. Be super careful with your Chargers this weekend. Go get all the Cowboys you can. That's all I got. Tyler, let's hear the waivers.
Yeah, I'm going to give you 3 names, one at the 3, one per major position. So I don't know if you watched the Bills games last night? Yeah, last night. Ty Johnson was super involved at the running back position. It was kind of James Cook, and then when they needed a yard, they would hand it off to Murray. But Ty Johnson, man, he had a great game last night. So if you're desperate, you want to stash him, maybe something happens, I don't know. But Ty Johnson was super involved last night. As far as wide receivers go, Tommy DeVito put in a serviceable performance for the Giants.
Okay.
And one of his favorite targets from this past week was Darius Slayton. He does carry a questionable tag into this week, but most likely just maintenance. And then Tyler Tyler Conklin for the Jets. The Jets announced today that they are making a quarterback change. The Zach Wilson experiment is over. So Boyle is going to take the reins, and Johnny has outlined what quarterbacks like to do, and that is dump off to the tight end and the running back. And Conklin is having a very serviceable year, so maybe you need some depth or your guy is out. So give Tyler Conklin a look.
Absolutely. Quarterbacks, when they get in trouble, they look for the big safety net, and that's usually a tight end. So look for him to have a lot of catches at least. Maybe a lot of 3 yards, check downs or whatever.
Hey, we play in a PPR league, my guy.
Yeah, PPR league.
You want to give me 5 dump offs for 15 yards? That's what, 6 points for your tight end. So that's not bad.
Fact, fun facts. All right, for this week's fun fact, we're talking about our favorite Thanksgiving food. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, that's tomorrow. Can't wait to get my belly full with all this good stuff. I am 32 years old, and for 31 years, my favorite food was mashed potatoes and noodles, specifically my grandma's mashed potatoes and noodles. And they're still sitting at number 1, but there's been a tie. Last Thanksgiving, there was a tie.
So are you counting that as one food?
Yeah, don't judge. We live in Indiana,
I mean,
bro.
you stack them? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll allow it.
I put them in a bowl.
I'll
mix it all up.
I'll allow
mashed
it.
potatoes and noodles.
That's 2 foods in my book, but I'll allow it.
Listen, we're in Indiana. All right, we're here in Indiana.
You're going to break up a roll and throw it in your bowl?
Nah, but I could. I mean, but yeah.
Tell us about this tie.
Dude, so last year we had Thanksgiving at my house, our new house, and my father-in-law smoked a turkey, and he gets there and there's this big, huge turkey. I'm not usually a turkey guy. I like turkey, but I'm not I can't wait for turkey. And he ripped off one of the drumsticks, the legs, and was like, Thanksgiving's at your house, you get a drumstick. And I've thought about that turkey leg every week since then. It was the best meat I've ever eaten. Oh man, dude.
Truman can throw it down on the
smoker. He can throw it down on the smoker. And this was like you've gotten the turkey legs at Disney World or whatever, amusement parks. You're this is a huge turkey leg. This is great. This was so much better than those. I still think about it. And I know I'm a couple days away. I specifically was ready to move calendars to make sure Thanksgiving was at my house again so that I could have the honor of getting the turkey leg. It was that big of that big of an impact.
Yeah.
So there's a tie. The big old it's your house turkey leg and mashed potatoes and noodles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an epic story like that for my my favorite thing.
I'm a foodie, bro.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is stuffing.
Really?
It is. If you've ever had homemade stuffing with the veggies mixed in.
Do you ever just taking a bottle of water and dumping it on your bread? That's what it's like to me.
No, it's not. It's so good. Stuffing is my absolute favorite.
Oh man, all right. Well, I'm gonna judge you a little for that. That's okay. But listen, I'm hyped because we could have had this as a win. You're listening to this on Wednesday. Last night, Tuesday night, every year we have a Friendsgiving with the Harnishes and the Keiths, where we just get the cheapest Chinese food we can find in Greentown, Indiana.
We're preparing our stomachs for the days to
follow.
follow.
And we just smash. All the kids and the families come over, and we just eat a bunch of Chinese food and just hang out. It's awesome. Friendsgiving.
And then when we're getting ready to leave, all the kids say, I'm hungry.
Yeah, and then we're just well, Thanksgiving's coming. You can eat then. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please share this with your friends that like fantasy football. We're trying to grow the podcast every single week. Remember, if you want some of our swag, you got to get that order in before December 6th. If you want it before Christmas, we appreciate you guys. God bless. This podcast is a So.Will.I.Studos production. So will I.